and good morning. Well, last week we had a nice sail. We left Coos Bay, sailed into Port Orford, and Cape Blanco didn't disappoint. We had a nice brisk winds as we rounded the Cape, probably hit 25 to 35s, and anchored in Port Orford with a nice stiff wind. It was a lot of fun, actually. We got up the next morning and sailed over to the Chetco River. This is Brookings. And it's misleading. Look at this. It's just calm as can be in here. But the Coast Guard is flying double red triangle flags. That's a gale warning out there, and it's been for the past 4 days. I know it's ugly out there because the transient dock here is full. There's a lot of boats that are trying to either go north or south right now. And as I walk by, these are all boats that are hiding out from the awful weather out there. You know, we've talked to all of them, and they're seeing some pretty crazy conditions, and they're all doing the same thing we are. We're gonna hang out here for the next few days, let the winds calm down and the sea state calm down out there. So it looks like this weather will calm down a bit here in about 2 days. And I think that's our window to head to the next port. There's 3 more stops before we hit Cape Mendocino. That's the next big cape that has notorious bad weather. But I want to get at least a little bit closer, so when that weather window for Cape Mendocino opens up, we could just bounce around it. That means from here, we'll go to Crescent City. From Crescent City, Trinidad Head, that'll be an anchorage. From Trinidad Head down to Eureka, and that's where we'll wait for that weather window. It's amazing how many boats are in here right now. The transient dock is just packed. All these boats are going from California to Washington or Washington to California. But it's a nice place to hang out. This is definitely a safe harbor. The bar entrance was easy. In a north wind, it is just flat. From the south, I hear it's pretty ugly out there. So we'll be here another 2 days before we head out.
Kind of nice because now that Emma's a little bit older, she can help out a lot more than she used to. So earlier she and Teal dropped the dinghy because we are going to go for a little boat ride and explore the Chetco River. So it's a great day, not too hot, not too cold, just perfect.
As we explored the Chetco River, it made me think of the 9 Athabascan-speaking groups that occupied this region for thousands of years. The Chetco people are the earliest inhabitants of the Brookings Harbor area. We spent some time at the Chetco Memorial to learn about their history and culture. As early as the 1500s, Spanish explorers visited the Pacific Northwest. Europeans had increased contact with Oregon's coastal tribes into the 1800s, bringing trade, disease, and new settlements of people. In 1854, A.F. Miller led an attack and burned both villages at the mouth of the Chetco River to extend his ferry business. The people were shot as they came out of their houses, and 2 were burned alive. All 23 men and several women were massacred. In 1856, the U.S. Army forcibly removed the Chetco people to the Siletz Reservation. The Chetco had to travel 200 miles north over rough terrain and swim over rivers with their children and elderly in tow. Some were abused by soldiers, and many died on the long, grueling march. I understand why the Chetco people lived here. This area is beautiful with its lush green forest, the natural warmer environment, and the abundance of fish in the bay and river. They lived here in peace while living off the land, which makes me so sad how they were driven from their home by outsiders. I am grateful to have stopped in this little port and learned more about the rich history of the Chetco people.
Okay, we're leaving the Chetco River. A little bit of fog this morning, but visibility's a third of a mile. Should burn off here in a couple hours. It's the first day the Coast Guard's not flying gale warning flags. Looks dead calm out here. Again, short-lived. It's just a small little window to get down to the next port. Looks like the weather will be ramping up once again here later tonight and starting again tomorrow. But we'll be in a new place. California, here we come.
California bound, baby.
There we go. Bar is unrestricted. Have a nice journey, it says.
Wear your life jacket.
Fog's just starting to lift, the sun's coming out, we're running with the swell. It's so much more comfortable going south than it is north right now. I mean, look at this guy right here. This is calm as it gets out here. Well, here we are in the St. George Channel. This channel splits the St. George Point with the St. George Reef. This reef has hundreds of exposed rocks all awash right now. I can see them as far as I can see out here. A couple other fishing boats are cutting through. It's much faster than taking the 10-mile trip around all this. The channel itself looks fairly wide. We're just powering through this. Wind has been light and variable. It's on our nose right now. But I want to make sure that we get through this area safely. Just amazing. Amazing how many rocks I could see. I mean, I'm looking at least 20 or 30 exposed rocks out here. The major one right up here. We're cutting right between that one and the point. Looks like plenty of space for us and all these fishing boats. I'm sure it's a mile wide, but it feels narrow when you look at the charts. We're about 10 miles out, maybe a little less. So we'll be into Crescent City just in time for lunch. So we're about halfway through the St. George Channel, and the fog is starting to creep in on us once again. We started today in pretty dense fog, cleared up for a little bit. Sun came out just for a glimpse. Check the weather report. Looks like we're going to be entering Crescent City in heavy fog again. The St. George Reef here. This is the largest rock out here, Star Rock. It's just starting to disappear in the fog. We'll be fine. Visibility is still about, I don't know, at least a mile. We'll be in soon. It's actually kind of interesting. I really like the fog. It just gives this kind of serene feeling out here. So we'll just keep clipping along.
So we just changed directions, which means we could finally pull out our jib. Emma is starting to kind of learn the ropes when it comes to sailing, so it's kind of nice. And we're probably about 2 miles from heading into Crescent City. I wish that the sun came out, but you know, it is what it is, and that's why we're going further south to find some of that warm weather. I don't know about you, but I'm so looking forward to it.
Me too.
Finally, we are in the state of California. Should be fun.
Okay, here we are. This is Round Rock. We'll literally round that rock for the entrance to Crescent City. Here's the breakwater here. We're about there. Now that we've come around that St. George Point, the sea state just calmed right down. There's hardly any swell, hardly any waves, hardly any wind. Fog is lifted. It's just ideal conditions to enter the harbor.
We're entering Crescent City, and my dad said that now that we're in California, we get a new fishing license, and I get to go fishing again. I'm so excited.
So here we are, tucked into Crescent City, California. It feels good. We're past Washington, we're past Oregon, we're now into California, heading south. You know, Crescent City it's a quiet little town, but they have had, historically, 2 tsunamis in the last 50 years. One in 1964 and one in 2011, and they decimated this whole marina, wiped out. They've rebuilt to amazing standards. I've never seen a marina that is built this stout. I mean, take a look at this. Look at this. These are 3-foot pilings every 6 or 8 feet. All down this dock. It's crazy. Feel safe here. Amazing protection. We'll be here a couple days. And we'll start looking for those weather windows to head south. We want to anchor out at Trinidad Head and then on to Eureka. You know, I'm not sure what day that'll happen, but this is a great place to camp out for a few days, explore, and maybe get a project done. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Now that we are safely tucked into Crescent City, the real magic begins. Because guys, I have been waiting for this. This is one of the upsides to having a short passage, is that we can actually sit down and have a meal together after out sailing. Because, you know, when we're underway, we just snack. We just eat whenever the other person is not on shift or whatever. But I look forward to this, especially this meal, because I have been craving this for a long time, and I realized how much I took it for granted. I am making Vietnamese bánh mì sandwiches, and this is something that I grew up with, and it just brings back so many memories. Usually, we don't even make it at home because it's so easy and accessible at all the Asian delis, and they're so cheap and they're so quick. This is our version of fast food. So now that we're on the coast, there's not like very many Vietnamese delis to grab a sandwich, so I had to figure out how to make it myself. This obviously has been in the works for I guess a week, because I had to plan out first the meat, and that is the Chinese barbecue pork. I have been marinating this for about 3 days before I actually cooked it. Teal and Emma have been hammering me about getting that done, because every time they open up the fridge, they see it and they want it. But It just takes a little patience, and once that is ready, then I just slow cook it for a few hours on 200 Fahrenheit degrees, and it just is amazing. And then obviously the biggest thing about the Vietnamese sandwich is the baguette. The baguette is one of the pluses of being a French colony, is that we were able to glean their version of baguettes. Ours is airier and lighter, but the outside is still really crispy and light, and it's amazing. So I had to figure out how to make it on board. I think I got it down. I'm going to change the sizing next time, but it turned out pretty good. So it's time to assemble because I'm hungry. One of the things that I have learned being on board is you just have to improvise. Obviously, this is not all the ingredients that you do in a Vietnamese sandwich, but you got to work with what you have, and I think that I have all the flavors there anyways, so it still packs a huge flavor punch, and I'm pretty happy with it.
You ready to eat?
Yeah, let's eat.
Another successful passage.
Yep.
It was a short day. Wasn't bad. It was kind of weird though, wasn't it?
A little, but
It was like
nice.
foggy most of the day. It cleared up right as we got here. And the wind was kind of light and variable, and well, I'm gonna stop talking. I gotta eat. I'm sorry.
So, we're finally in California.
Let's toast to that. California.
And I got my fix.
Oh,
I think I'm gonna do it again.
that's delicious. What do you think, Em?
It's amazing.